In today's Gospel of Luke, we have what's known as the Matthew principle. Those who have everything, more will be given. Those who have nothing, everything will be taken. And we have the servants who got the coins. One got 10 and went away and made 10 more. One got 5 and made 5 more. And the other one got 1 and hid it in a handkerchief and returned it to his master because he was afraid. So in relation to the Matthew principle in the Gospel, this idea that if we orientate ourselves toward God and we make a move towards Him, then His graces will be bestowed on us, and then we'll be given the strength, then the power, the graces to move even closer to Him, and He gives us more graces, and so on and so on. So it's a positive feedback loop. It's like a machine, like an engine. The more we move toward God, the more He gives us the faith and the graces to move toward Him. The opposite is also true. The more we engage in moving away from God and missing the mark through sin, the less strength we have, the weakening of our faith, and the less strength we have to move toward Him. So when we strengthen our virtues, like going to the gym, if we strengthen our muscles, we're able to go back the next day and lift more weights. Whereas if we don't, our muscles get weak and we can't use them. What does that mean then for us today as Christians trying to do the right thing? Well, in the Gospel it says that the person who had 10 coins and returned 10 more was given responsibility for 10 more cities. So he wasn't told to go and lie on the beach with his feet up or stay in a 5-star hotel. He was given more responsibility. So a different way of looking at this is, those who have everything, more will be given. But what is everything? Everything could be something that we don't want. It could be hardship. It could be more responsibility. It could be a burden we have to carry. It could be a cross we have to carry. And to the outside world, by all intents and purposes, it looks as though we've gotten a raw deal. We're practicing our faith, we're going to church, we're saying our prayers, but a parent dies, a child gets sick, we get a bad diagnosis, and we shake our fists at God. But what if there's more meaning behind the suffering? Because we are good and faithful servants, like the good and faithful servant in the Gospel today, we're orientating ourselves towards God even in our suffering. Those who go out in tears will return with the harvest, singing in tears, and they reap a harvest when they return. I remember that verse. I think it's in the Psalms. So what are we like those servants who have orientated ourselves toward God? We have invested those coins through the practicing of the virtues. But now God has given us more responsibility. He's given us more suffering. He's given us more hardship. Things haven't gotten better. Because what does He want us to do? He wants us to turn us into saints. He's burning away, He's refining. Fuller's soap is out. The refiner's fire. Remember Job. Job was a virtuous man. He did everything by the book. But God visited upon him a series of terrible catastrophes where he lost everything. All his wealth, all his barns, all his family, everything. That he was sitting on a dung heap, scraping himself with shards of glass, diseased. His wife even told him to curse God and die. And his friends visited him, and in a series of conversations They kept asking him, what did you do wrong? You must have done something wrong for God to have done this to you. And in all of this, Job never questioned God and questioned his plan. Naked I came from the world, and naked I return. Let God's will be done. And in the end, he was given the crown of glory. Everything was returned to him, even more than he ever had initially. When it comes to this Matthew principle, I think we need to think differently. I think it can help us in our day-to-day lives, especially when we come across this big question of suffering. What if the suffering has meaning? What if responsibility has meaning? What if we've been prepared for something, for sainthood? He's refining us. He's divinizing us. We're getting that spiritualized body. So we can also say, as they said in the first reading today, when we get to heaven and we see God face to face, we can also say, holy, 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 Lord God Almighty.